Hey, it's Jeremy here at the Online Broadcast Blueprint. Right off the bat, I just want you to notice I've got my email for my radio station, Radio Valley, below. If you want to email me, contact me. I've had a few folks that have reached out over the last couple of weeks, and it's great. I love having those conversations. So you can shoot me an email. There's also the listener line for my station. You could leave a message on that line as well. But I wanted to come on here real quick and clarify some things. I've been harping on this, what I call hyper localization, and it works for me, right? It works for me because I'm physically hyper localizing. My radio station is in a very rural area. My total service area, the area that I focus on, is basically two counties in northwest Montana and in the skinny part of Idaho, the Idaho Panhandle. Very rural areas that are completely ignored by traditional, terrestrial radio stations. And for me, that has paid off because I hyper localize. All we talk about is stuff going on in these little towns along the Clark Fork River on Highway 200, right? It's very targeted, very much localized. But I don't want you to think that hyper localization only requires or only applies to a geographical area. It could. In my situation, it does. Maybe we need a better term. Maybe instead of hyper localization, we could call it hyper stratification or hyper something, right? And let me give you an example. I got an email from a gentleman. No, it wasn't an email, a message in one of my comments on one of my videos. I can't remember which one it was. But this is a gentleman in a large metropolitan area, but he services, I think it was a Jamaican community. Okay, so think about that. It's not a small geographical area that he's focusing on, but it's a subset. It's a stratification. It's a demographic that he's focusing on. The same things apply, right? Give this group of people, if in his case it's a group of Jamaican immigrants, give them something that they wouldn't get anywhere else. Cater to them. Talk about things that are important to them. So yeah, don't feel like if you live in a big city, you can't use this strategy of hyper localization or hyper stratification. I just made that up too. I don't know. Has anyone said hyper stratification before? I don't know. But you get my point, right? Maybe you live in a big city and you really want to focus on the retirement community, folks that are retired. Maybe you want to focus on, this is a stretch, but let's say you live in a coastal area and you want to make a radio station for fishermen. I don't know. I don't know. But the point is, you find that unique opportunity and you double down on it. Okay. That's the idea of hyperlocalization, hyperstratification. Find an audience that has a need, meet that need, and double down on meeting that need. That's really what it's about. So you don't have to find a small town in the middle of Iowa or Oklahoma or whatever and say, I'm going to hyperloc. You don't have to do that, right? Wherever you live, think of something you're very interested in or passionate about. Maybe you can build a radio station around that. Maybe around your church group or religious affiliation. If you're a Catholic, maybe you could do a radio station that caters to Catholics. I don't know. If you're in whatever, just think about ways that you can. I said this on the very first video I ever put up, which is ironic because the name of my channel is the Online Broadcast Blueprint. It's not about broadcasting. It's about narrowcasting. Okay. Find a niche and double down on that niche. I think that's the secret to success, right? And then just one last thing I wanted to talk about. I belong to several Facebook groups, online radio, worldwide internet radio. I don't remember the names of all, probably about 4 or 5 of them, which are great. I love seeing these. A lot of them are very international flavor. So I see lots of things from Germany and from the UK and South America and Jamaica. And it's great. I love it. I love seeing all of that. But one thing I notice, okay, and there's a lot of online radio stations that are literally DJs, like club mixing DJs, and a lot of stations do that. And that's great. And if that's working for you, that is awesome. I'm not here to tear anything down. The only observation I wanted to make is so many of these music stations, their calling card, their tagline is all about the music. Now, again, if it's working, that's great. But if it's not working, if you aren't getting a lot of listeners, maybe you should rethink making music your differentiator. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. Because in this day and age, anyone can get any music they want anywhere. Okay? So your super cool playlist is just 1 in a million out there on the interwebs, right? So this is personally, I think it's super hard to differentiate based on music because people can get the music they want anywhere. You know, they've got their own playlist. Why would they want to listen to yours? I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. Here's my philosophy on music. Do no harm. Okay. Play music you like. That's, you know, I do. I mean, I play music generally that I like, but my philosophy is do no harm. And what do I mean by that? I'm never going to play music that might alienate my key demographic. Okay. Because it's not about me. It's not about me. Radio Valley does not play my favorite music. I mean, I just like music generally. So in general, I like all the music I play, but that's not when I'm going to listen to music. It's not the music I play on Radio Valley. Right. But Radio Valley isn't about me. It's about my listeners. Okay. It's not about my playlist. It's about my listeners. So when I say do no harm, I'm never going to play a song that's going to drive someone away. Okay. Now, I don't mean to pick on I heard another little online radio station here a few weeks ago. I tuned in and I heard a Patsy Cline song. Oh, that's great. That's Patsy Cline. I love Patsy Cline. And then it went into War Pigs by Black Sabbath. Okay. Now, you know what? I love both of those songs, but most people don't. Okay. The people that love War Pigs, probably not going to be a Patsy Cline fan. People that like Patsy Cline, probably not going to be a Black Sabbath fan. You can't be all things to everyone. And that's what I see so many of these music stations try. We play the greatest music from the 40s to the 2000s. Good luck with that. Okay. Good luck with that. So you try to please everyone, you're not going to please anyone. So as far as music goes, do no harm. I have to be careful when I say this. I was going to say the music's not important. That's not true. You got to have good music, right? But the music is the least important part of the equation. What happens between the songs is way more important than the songs. I honestly believe that. That's the way you're going to differentiate, not with your music. Okay. Again, unless it's a super hyper specialized, all we're going to play is polka music and you're appealing to just a polka audience. I mean, maybe that's a strategy. I don't know. But if your goal is to draw people in because of your awesome playlist that plays music from the 40s to the 2000s, well, that's a tough road to hoe. What happens between the songs is way more important than the songs. What do you guys think? Am I wrong? Does that make sense? Leave your comments below. Shoot me an email radiovalley@mail.com if you want to talk about it. I'd love to talk about it. And I've had a few folks that have reached out to me and wanted to talk. They're starting stations, and they just wondered if we could exchange emails or talk. Absolutely, guys. I love nerding out on this. If you ever want to contact me and have a conversation, if you think it would be helpful, I'm happy to do that. We could get on a conference call together and talk about it. We can exchange emails, whatever. I'm happy to do that. I love this. I love talking about this. So that is always an option. Reach out to me at radiovalley@mail.com. Follow Radio Valley on Facebook too, by the way, and give it a listen. See what we're doing. If there's some things there that resonate with you, I can definitely get together and we can talk about that. And we'll talk about, things in upcoming videos as well. Anyways, thank you so much. Take care. Have a good one. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.